My name's Lorraine, if you don't know me, and I'm a member of Bangor Worldwide Committee. So it's lovely to see you all here this afternoon. I hope you had enough tea and coffee and buns. Yeah, if you want some more, there are some, so we can give you them. My job here is to introduce this lovely lady who's come a long way from Florida. Can you imagine? She's come, how many years have you come?
I think this is the 6th year.
6 years of flying from Florida to here. Isn't that amazing? How many people have been to Florida? Disneyland? Yeah, been to Disneyland. That's why we go to and for the sunshine, which is a bit scarce here, isn't it? But we're going to chat to Jamie, and I don't know if any of you have been into the Global Village or not. Has anyone been around to see the stands? Maybe, yeah. So you'd have met Jamie at the Good News colouring book stand. And I don't know about you, but I think it's mostly for kids, isn't it?
No.
No, well, that's okay, because I love colouring in. So, Jamie, tell us a little bit about what is the Good News colouring book?
Okay, let me tell it to you, and then Johnny has a video, a short video to put on. And if it's ready, we'll just look at this first, and it'll explain a little bit. And there's no music, sorry, I couldn't do it. All of the coloring books, different languages, are free online. Anybody can download any language from anywhere in the world and print out as many as they want. So we're just going to be seeing, some of these photos are 20 years old, because I've been doing this for 26 years. So when it comes to praying for the ministry, I always look at some of these old photos and think, these children are 25 years old now, and where are they, and what are they doing? And I'll still pray for them. There's more than 130 languages now. You can't see it. So obviously, those countries are not full of Good News coloring books, but they have gone with different missionaries over the years. Yes, not for children only. So a lot of the books, which I'll explain in a minute, are dual language, like here, and they can use them for teaching English classes, which is now what they're being used for a lot besides with children. Nursing home and elder, this man was 106 when he died, and he became a Christian about 103. And the lady was 102, and she went through the book with a friend who had taken it to the nursing home, that's what we call them, the care home, and gone through the whole book with her. And she had been a Christian, but it was good for her before she died to just reiterate the words of Christ and what Jesus had done for her. And she colored it perfectly. And that's it. So let me just talk a little bit more about it. So it is a coloring book, yes, with pictures, but the whole point of it is it uses scripture only to go through the life of Jesus. So it's just about Jesus, scriptures, and most of them are the dual language. So this is Irish, Gaelic, and the scripture verse is in Irish, and then below it is the English. Well, also, this one is Farsi with English, and as you know, I'm sure you know, in this country and many countries there are so many refugees or immigrants coming in. So these could be used, you could print off one for the new neighbor or 100 or for a community center or the hotels where they're keeping them. And I do know some of the ladies here have been working, helping them learn English or do a lot of things. So it's great to be able to hand somebody one and say, here, this will help you learn English, and we don't have to tell them this is going to teach them all about Jesus either. And then this one is a large print one for like care home ministry. So it's easily readable.
Okay. It's a wonderful ministry. How did it come about?
Okay, I'll try not to talk too long. So about 27 years ago, when I was homeschooling my two daughters, and one of them is here at this conference with me this time, so I'm really happy about that. But I was homeschooling them, and we were reading a book by Marilyn Laszlo, and it was a missionary book where she had gone to Papua New Guinea, lived among the tribe very primitively, learned the language, started translating the Bible into the language, can't remember the name of it. And then the tribe, most of them became believers. And just one of those heartwarming books. But one old man had asked her, how long have you known this good news about Jesus? And she had to tell him 2,000 years. And he said, why did it take so long to come to us and tell us the story? Well, I was crying my eyes out, and so were my kids. It was like, oh my goodness. And I'd always had a heart for missions, and since I was saved at age 23. But by then I was married, had kids. That year my mother-in-law lived with us, and she had dementia. And then my husband retired, so he was home. There were 5 of us home in the house all the time. But I was praying so much after we read that book, what can I do? I can't go anywhere. I can't at this point. So I really, really prayed heartfelt and forgot about it because life was chaotic in our house. So then one day I was clearing out crayons from our school room, and there was a bunch of broken ones, and I was going to throw them out. But then I knew, I'll tell you in a minute, because I lived overseas my whole childhood, I knew that in Egypt and in the Philippines and some third world countries, they wouldn't be throwing out the crayons, they would love them and enjoy them. And it just went very quickly in my head, oh, well, I could take these crayons and send them overseas. How on earth would you do that? Oh, well, missionaries go all the time. Oh, yeah. Well, they would need paper. Okay, a little paper. Oh, a little booklet. Oh, maybe a little booklet about Jesus. And then it's like, oh, the Bible's already translated into many, many languages, so it could just be scripture verses underneath the pictures. And then all of a sudden, this whole thing popped into my head, this whole idea. And I was like, oh, that's a great idea for somebody to do. And then I thought, oh, I think you're showing this to me, Lord, and if this is from you, I will do it, but I don't know how, because it was very chaotic. I don't know how, and I'll do it. And then totally forgot about it for a while, and one day I just felt in the shower where you have nothing else to keep your attention. It was like, now. So I called my sister in Virginia and told her what I wanted her to draw, and she had been praying the same prayer. She was home with her little boys and about to give birth to another, and she had been praying, what can I do? What can I do? And I said, well, draw these pictures, which she did very quickly. And so this was actually really difficult. I'm not an organizer. I don't like starting things. Anyway, I went to the pastor and talked to him about it and asked if I could share it in church, and he said, sure. So I did, and right after that meeting, a friend of mine who's from Finland came up to me and said, can you do it in Finnish? I'm like, we haven't even done it in English yet. It hasn't even started. And she goes, well, I'm going to Finland next month to visit my family, and we need to do this. So really, we prayed about it, my mother-in-law had to then go into a care home where there was medical treatment for her. My husband got called away for a 2-week job in Texas, and this lady came over to my house with her to finish Bible, and we picked the scriptures out and we typed them in, and her son played with my kids, and we got the whole thing done, went to the office store, printed 100 copies. We all stapled and folded them. She took them to Finland, gave them out at hospitals and stuff, and took them to her sister and her children, and she read it out loud to them and asked if anybody wanted to pray. And they all said yes, right that minute. And they all prayed then to receive Christ. So when she told me about this, I'm like, oh my gosh. So I just want to say one other book that was so influential in my life was Henry Blackaby, Experiencing God. And he had talked about when you feel the Lord is showing you something or giving you an idea, first pray about it, and then second, check the Bible. Is this in line with what the Bible teaches? And thirdly, you will get confirmation from other believers if this is from the Lord. It won't be going against good counsel. So everything was falling in place, and then many more little amazing things happened. A few years ago, that same lady, Tina, told me that her sister had gotten cancer about 4 years ago, and the husband was totally anti-Christian and wouldn't even let Tina speak to her sister before she passed away. But she knew that she had given her life to the Lord, and over the years she had kept up her Christian belief. So that was just fabulous. So.
What an incredible story, yeah? Starting at a kitchen table, was it? You started
on the floor of the schoolroom. Yes, yes.
Isn't it wonderful about how God can take something, so we think small, and use it, multiply it, and change lives? Can I ask, have you a family background in missions or anywhere?
I do not have family background in missions, but my father was with the American Embassy, and we lived in Germany, Egypt, the Philippines, London, and Jamaica. And I graduated school in Jamaica and moved to the United States for the first time. And but I had this fabulous childhood. I loved that, and I thought everybody lived that way. I had no idea people stayed in one town or area their whole lives. But when I became a Christian and got to know the Lord and thought about missions, I was like, why did the Lord have me grow up that way and not in another family? I just felt like there was something there. And really, I love everything about the world and the different people groups. And I think it's from that.
It's when you look back, isn't it? You can see the step by step, how God's been there, each step of the way. You're not aware of it until that moment. Yeah. So, is there a particular Bible verse that has been important to you, Jamie, through all of this? I'm sure there is.
Yes, the one that was up, well, there's a lot of my favorites, but the one that was up on the board, it was 1 Corinthians 14:10. There are, it may be, so many kinds of languages in the world, and none of them is without significance. And so as I've gone to different missions conferences over the years, a lot of times the Wycliffe Associates or other Bible translators will say, we've just finished this, can you do it in this language? And one couple had just returned from Papua New Guinea and wanted the book done in the Doromo Kokai language. There's only 1,500 people that speak that language. But it was easy for me once I had a contact and put the book into that language, sent it them by email, and they printed it out and were able to take it to this very small people group, and they were so excited to have something in their own language. So I love that I can do that part. Yeah.
I have a feeling how you're going to ask this or answer this one, but the question is, What do you think is of the most important part of your ministry? What's most...
The most necessary is prayer, And I think at this conference this week, everybody has said that, how absolutely critical it is, because it isn't God helping me with my ministry. This ministry is His idea. It wasn't, I didn't think of this myself, it just came, I know, from Him. And I want to make sure that I'm in line with everything He wants to do. And then to pray for the children and the adults. There's a lot of adults that have been using the books. I just want to share this. I don't want to talk too long, but I got an email from a man yesterday in the States who's been using them for a long time for teaching English classes. And so he says he doesn't call it a coloring book. He calls it, when he's working with the Japanese professional people, he calls it the bilingual illustrated Bible study of Jesus. I'm like, that's so great, because it's not just for children, it's for anybody.
I know this question wasn't written down, but if you don't mind, I'm really curious. How many languages are your books in?
It's about 130, and I say that because some of them are almost finished, but waiting for somebody to check it over from a native speaker. But there are also more than 300 language combinations, because there's German, for example, combined with Turkish, or German with Farsi, and German with Arabic, and German. So I just try to make what's necessary. And recently I was asked to do one by Wycliffe Associates for a gypsy group in Bulgaria. And so the language was Yerliski Romani combined with Bulgarian. So yeah, but it's so that they can learn, Bulgarian or whatever. But again, it was really exciting to do one in a language that they have very little material for children, especially.
Jamie has produced these little cards, and they're absolutely, it's upside down. They're absolutely beautiful, and there's one for each of you as she leaves, which we hope will be a real encouragement. But I want to ask too, as a woman here, what words of encouragement would you like to say to ladies sitting here who maybe think, how could God use me? Is there anything I can do from a floor in the house or a kitchen table or something, how can I?
I did used to wonder that, and I did remember, when I first was reading about Abraham, not the first part of the Bible, but it was early on when I finally realized, oh, this was a real man, and these things really happened to him. And then I was thinking, if God could speak to this man, can He speak to a homemaker in America? And the answer was, yeah, the Bible was full of it. But I also know that everything we do, every neighbor that we speak to, or invite for tea, or do English classes with, or anything, that is a huge ministry. The one-on-one is wonderful, and I love what I do, but it's also detached from humans a lot of times. I'm doing it a lot on the computer. So one-on-one is so valuable, and whatever the Lord puts before you, He put you there for that purpose, you specifically.
It's wonderful, isn't it? Yeah, we'll give her a little round of applause.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I just love being here, and I love coming to Northern Ireland every year. I just love it. You all are wonderful.